Questions for YouTube portion of Language Block Final by Mike Thompson. Question 1. Comprehension activities and instruction are very different for kindergarten and second grade. Would you describe the approaches you would take for instruction for those two grades and let us know why those approaches are developmentally appropriate? There are several key differences between the comprehension level of a kindergartner and that of a second grader. This time period is where the famous 5 to 7 shift occurs. The 5 to 7 shift is the transformation from learning to read to reading to learn. Very similar to this concept is the idea that in kindergarten, comprehension is thought of as acquisition. Comprehension acquisition is learning how to comprehend certain things. On the other hand, in the second grade, we think of a child's comprehension as instruction. This is the ability to actually question the text and make predictions and summarizations from the text. I will now go over some of the instructional approaches that should be used for both of these grade levels. At the kindergarten level, read-alouds are extremely important to develop comprehension. They allow the student to hear the language and ask the teacher about the meanings of certain words within the text. We need to designate sufficient time for read-alouds and encourage student involvement before, during, and after the activity. It is important to select books that are engaging and read across multiple genres. One way to keep students engaged is to frequently ask questions about the book. After the read aloud, it is necessary to offer a variety of response activities. In the second grade, the child is most likely past the stage where speaking should be a primary focus. Instead, we will focus on listening skills, group interaction, and drama. Teachers are beginning to present students with directions with 3 or 4 steps, so it is important that the child is able to listen to the teacher and comprehend those steps. Students also begin to work in groups in the second grade, so it is important for the students to be able to listen to other ideas in order to form and share their own opinions. This is also a time when the teacher will ask students to present information to their classmates in a dramatic fashion. This will foster the student's ability to express his or her opinion in a creative way. In second grade, he or she is beginning to understand the general structure and language of literature and can begin to use the information in the sentences or the story itself to read words. This is where the teacher can use guided and interactive reading to expand the child's knowledge of literacy. The teacher can encourage the students to use predictions, questions, clarifications, and summarizations when reading. These strategies help build reading comprehension as well as vocabulary. Overall, comprehension activities are more interactive at kindergarten level because the teacher is the one who is engaging them. However, in the second grade, it is the actual text that is engaging the students. The teacher is preparing them to be independent readers who can make real-life connections to the text. Question 2. We have an increasing number of English language learners in our school. How would you modify your instruction to promote their oral language and development? There's many ways in which we as teachers can modify our instruction to promote oral language development for our English language learners in the classroom. We have to remember that there is not a lot of time in a given school day for language practice. Learning a new language can be very overwhelming, and it is important that we remember that the first few months in the American classroom can be an emotional roller coaster. Group interaction is key for ELL students. Students are being introduced by their peers to the language even when the teacher is not present. When the teacher is present, carefully monitoring a child's progress can allow the teacher to appropriately group the students amongst their peers of similar comprehension level. By putting a child in a level appropriate to his or her learning needs, they are neither bored nor struggling to keep up. Read-alouds are another very important instructional approach for ELL students. It is important that these students hear the English language being spoken as much as possible on a given day. If time allows it, we can also use one-on-one reading time with our ELL students to promote comprehension, language development, and conversation skills. The teacher can also encourage the student to ask frequent questions about certain words of the context of the book. It is very helpful for ELL students if these books have pictures that accurately correspond to the text. These books should also show past, present, and future tenses. These are just a few among countless numbers of instructional adaptations we could make to maximize comprehension amongst our ELL students. Question 3. We have openings in preschool and first grade. Would you please describe how you would address word level instruction for both those grades? Are there any specific techniques or programs you feel should be introduced? For pre-K, teachers can talk about how to make letters and link consonants in particular to the child's name. For example, the child would see that the letter J goes to the name John. We could also label things around the classroom to show the beginning letters of certain words. For example, if there was a picture of a horse in the classroom, we could label that picture with emphasis on the H. Using nursery rhymes and poetry to recognize rhymes and beginning sounds is another way to foster oral language. Students at the pre-K level are beginning to understand that there are different types of print such as newspaper, grocery lists, books, etc. We can show how these are different and how they can relate to real-world activities such as going to the grocery store. Breaking long words into syllables by using clapping is an activity that we can use towards the end of the pre-K year. Finally, teaching and learning the ABCs or alphabet song is very important at the preschool level. The primary focus for word level instruction at the first grade level should be differentiation. This is important at this level because there is a much wider range of student comprehension. First graders are likely to be able to spell 3 to 4 level words, blend and segment phonemes, and count the number of syllables in words. This makes it appropriate to do a lot of word sort activities at this level. We should also do a lot of blending and beginning, middle, and end sound work. I highly recommend the PALS website and Word Identification Strategies by Barbara Fox to find other activities over a wide range of reading levels for both the pre-K and first grade levels.